Alright, hey, what's up people? Marco here, and today we're going to be talking about the Mirage RDA by AB1. Alright, so funny thing is when AB1 first messaged me about it, I was like, who the hell are these guys? and Bong, the guy behind the atomizer, was kind enough to meet me in person, and we got to sit down and chat about the device. And this is pretty much it. I've had this for about 5 weeks now, been using it quite extensively and been thoroughly enjoying it. It's actually a nice nod to the old school atomizers of yesteryears. It's obviously influenced heavily by a person who who loves his old school stuff, and I really enjoy that. Here's what it looks like. Nice mirror finish with the built-in drip cap. It's got a domed top, which is pretty common nowadays in RDAs, and it's a tripole. The newer version, they released an upgrade shortly after my conversation with Bong. They changed how the poles look. Now they're still milled into the deck, except now they're a bit blockier, a bit bigger, with slightly more clearance in between the poles. Because you're going to notice, can the camera get some zoom in on it? That the poles are pretty close to one another, so you're not able to get that many coils in. I'm going to talk about how I compensated for that later on. Okay, so the screws are Phillips head, and they sit nice and snug when you pop them down, when you screw them down. This is what it looks like. So you guys have seen it's built on a single coil, which is how I enjoy the atomizer. Although it can accommodate dual coil builds, it's got the air holes on either side on the base right there. And you're going to notice that the atomizer itself does not have any actual air holes in the same way conventional atomizers have them on the cap or somewhere visible. You're going to see that, yeah, this is where the magic happens. The rim, the base rim on which the entire atomizer rests. See, it's fastened down by an O-ring right here. Right there. It's a nice fat O-ring that fastens this little plate down. You have the AB1 engraving, laser etching, and the serial number, so mine is 107. It's one of the earlier ones. And you fasten it down by pushing it up like that there. So the ventilation goes through this little indentation between the actual deck where you build and this little plate that sits right above the 510 connection. So this is what it looks like. Alright? Pop it down and tighten the screw head a little bit because it might lose connection because of how I pushed it down. Anyway, I'm going to show you how it vapes, talk about it for a bit, and the usual shit. So we're using iClouds. Yeah, I actually enjoy it a lot on this RDA. It tastes amazing on it. So this is built at 0.74 ohm. I'm using a macro coil on a 3mm internal diameter using 24 gauge round Campbell wire. Respectable amount of vapor for a build like that. Yeah, flavor retention on it is awesome. Now, you're going to see why when you see the cap. There, it's domed. So the flavor output on it is just way up there. I like how the juice wells maximize the capillary action regardless of what your wicking medium is. So if you're using silica, if anyone still uses silica, it wicks pretty efficiently as well. I gave it a spin on silica last week. I'm not a fan of how silica tastes, so I took it out after a while and put back my usual cotton macro coil. The juice well is 2.5 millimeters in depth, so it maximizes the capillary action of the wicking, so your wick is pretty much saturated all throughout. You don't get dry hits that often because of how the juice well functions. It's one of the few juice wells I've encountered that actually serves its purpose very well. Now the air holes are bored into the deck itself, which we've talked about earlier. There are two, and I believe these are 2.5 millimeters in diameter each. So you're getting a healthy amount of airflow, although given the fact that you don't have an option. Well, 510 drip tips do fit in this. Let me see if I have one lying around. Yeah, I think I do. Yeah. So you can put a 510 drip tip on it, but it looks pretty for lack of a better word, it looks pretty stupid. I prefer just using the the standard drip cap that's built in. So it's force fitted into the top cap of the RDA. Sits nice and snug. It's not flushed because I didn't screw the 510 pin all the way down, but it does sit flush on just about anything once you've adjusted it. I was talking to Bong. I was telling him most atomizers nowadays are made for cloud chasers. Why didn't you go in that direction? He was like, well, I'm pretty old school. I prefer it. Yeah, I prefer things that way. And I was like, well, that's good because a lot of people now are gravitating more towards flavor than actual cloud chasing. I mean, the advent of like Kanger tanks and shit made people realize that flavor was a big thing. I mean, it should have been like a long time ago, but nowadays in the local market, it's pretty much picking up. So that was, kudos to AB1 for acknowledging that fact and building an atomizer that was designed specifically with flavor retention in mind versus, oh, let's drill like a 10 millimeter air hole in this thing and let's have it chuck some fucking clouds. Yeah, that was, that's a pretty retarded move to do. Of course, that's overly exaggerated, but that's, pretty much what we're seeing nowadays is, everyone wants to chase clouds and shit. I tried building a dual coil on this. It can, but I prefer not to because it sort of defeats the purpose of the atomizer being designed for flavor. I thoroughly enjoy how the nicotine rush is pretty solid on it because its chamber is a lot smaller than other atomizers out there. Like the clearance between your build and the air hole and your build and the mouthpiece or the drip tip is pretty. It optimizes the flavor retention that you're getting out of the device, and that's always a good thing because again, that's what the device is geared towards. So that's pretty much how it works. The one main gripe I have isn't really functional, but it's more of an aesthetic gripe. It's because it comes in a mirror finish. While it's absolutely brilliant, I mean, it's beautiful, it's pretty hard to match mods with it because most mods come in a brushed finish, right? So they come in a brushed finish most of the time for stainless steel, particularly for 304 and 316 grade ones. Brushed finish is pretty much the norm, and this looks sort of off when you put it on a brushed mod. I mean, mirror finish and brush finish on the mod, it just looks pretty weird. So what I did to make sure that I don't have that issue anymore is I put it on my Dragon Box. Yay! So it's got that champagne color. It's a nice, a nice contrast to it, and it's really small, really compact. Like I put it on my Hana Mini, and it was amazing. I mean, it's like this small. It's really cute. So that's pretty much how I use it on a daily basis. Macro coils I find are probably the best build to implement on an atomizer like this, because it's geared towards flavor, and given the surface area and the ramp up time that you're going to have to fill like a wider internal diameter, it just cooks your juice really well, and the flavor that you're getting out of it is just astounding. So kudos to that. Another con that I need to discuss is the distance between the poles. So again, you can't get like 8 to 9 coils on it. So if you're using something like Cloudper Mini or something with restrictive like parameters in terms of what builds you can use on it, you're gonna want to, you're gonna want to shy away from using like thick gauge wires on it, because you're not going to get the necessary resistance for your device to work properly on it. But that's not a con specific to this RDA, rather specific to like the restrictions that your mod has. So mechanical works perfectly fine for me. The device is an amazing flavor atomizer, so I really can't knock it for that. And that's just a con I have to discuss based on the version that I have, because AB1 and the fellows behind AB1 have already modified the poles in order to accommodate a wider array of build structures depending on your preference, basically. So kudos to them for that. I'm going to link to their Facebook page so that you can see the pictures of the newer version with the thicker and milled posts. So those are the ones that are on the market right now. I think they also made slight modifications to the logo. I'm not sure if the camera can capture it because of the mirror finish on it, but it's got that nice, simple Mirage laser etching, laser engraving on the front side, and the M, single M, right there. Part of the reason why I like it because my name starts with an M, so it's pretty fucked up. It's pretty narcissistic, but it's just really, really nice to use and really, really fun to vape on. It's pretty solid shit. God, I need practice with those tricks. I mean, other people have, you know, like little beady rings and shit. They can shoot it inside, but you know, fuck that. I'm gonna learn how to do that shit one day and post a video of it. Well, anyway, that's the Mirage RDA by AB1. Again, thanks to JM and Bong for forking this over. It's an absolutely lovely piece of work. I love how it tastes, how it makes even juices I didn't like before taste really, really amazing on it. So kudos to you guys. Hoping you guys come out with, well, maybe a tank soon. If China would stop making such good, cheap tanks, maybe like more Pinoys would actually make more tanks. Well, anyway, that's a different topic for another day. I'm gonna catch you guys all soon, and y'all vape hard, all right? Cheers.